Hello humans, welcome back to my makeup room. My name is Martha if you've never been here before, and I post makeup related videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked in the will be written in the description down below. And let's get started. Today I have a different kind of video. It's another sort of Project Pan type thing. If you watch Project Panners or you've seen Project Pan videos on the web, you may be familiar with a Pan Those Eyeshadows kind of a series. And that's where you randomly generate 5 shades from random palettes and try and hit pan on all of those shades. That's not really how I do my makeup. I want my eyeshadow palettes to get more love. So what I have decided to do instead of doing that, because honestly, that's just not practical for me. If I'm sitting down to film a video, I often like to either use my singles or use one dedicated palette, and I'm not going to do the same look over and over again or use the same colors over and over again. And if I'm getting ready for work, it's not really feasible for me to have 5 eyeshadow palettes stacked on top of each other. And I'm not going to do a Pan That Palette series because I'm not going to focus on trying to use up a whole entire palette when I really haven't done this kind of a project before, and that's not something I want to do. I don't want to neglect all of my shadows except for one palette. I want all of my eyeshadow palettes to look loved, because honestly right now they don't. So instead I'm going to do a Pan in Every Palette challenge series, and I got this idea from Kelly Nicole. I'll link her channel down below. She's a project panner. She's, holy crap, I don't know how she goes through so much stuff. She has like 12 projects going on or something, like, oh my god. So anyways, I took inspiration from the title of her project because she does that sort of like a roulette style with random shades from different palettes. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on one palette, use whatever shades I feel like, and sort of maybe focus on one shade in the palette, obviously, but like I'm not keeping myself restricted to only that one shade. And whatever shade I notice is getting a dip the fastest, or I really like using the most, I'll try and focus on that shade and try and hit pan on it. I'm not even going to randomly select the palette. I'm going to be very selective about the palettes that I'm going to be choosing. So let's start with how many eyeshadow palettes I have and how many pans I have in them. Currently I have 31 eyeshadow palettes, and there may or may not be 1 or 2 on the way. I have pan in 2 of those eyeshadow palettes. I'm doing so good. I'm doing so good. But honestly, earlier this year, I didn't have any pans in any eyeshadow palettes. So I have the Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves. I have a pan in there. And my Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette. This may be a spoiler for my roulette pan collab, so don't watch if you don't want spoilers. But I hit pan in that today. Oh. I was going to start working on my Norvina palette, but that pan came so quickly, so I don't need to start with that one. So, hooray for us. I don't know if this selection process is going to be the same every time, and I don't know how often, if I'm going to want to roll out a palette, if there's just no end in sight. You know, it's going to be fairly loosey-goosey. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and pick a palette that I know I can make work for work. It can be work appropriate. I can pair it with singles or something to make it work appropriate. And something I think might be attainable, like the Anastasia palettes. I know their formula is very powdery. The pans aren't that big. That's why I was focusing on that palette first, because I thought it was an attainable goal. Because I'm new to panning eyeshadows. I'm not going to start with a Juvia's Place. I'm not going to start with my Natasha Denona palette. I'm sensible. Rather than go with just like an all neutral palette that I can wear to work every day, I'm dipping my toe in a little bit deeper this time because in my roulette pan collab, I have a shade from Norvina that I'm trying to hit pan on. This is the shade Soda Swamp, and it's like a white with a pinky purple base, like a pale magenta. And I wanted to pick a palette that would pair well with that. I was using my Norvina palette before and it worked okay. It wasn't the best, but that's why I've decided to go with the Sugarpill Fun Size palette. Now, the reason I chose this one is the colors, especially this purpley shade, will go very nice with that Norvina shade. And it's small pans and they are pastel. So I'm not going to end up accidentally having a huge smoky eye, exhibit A, when I want to go to work. They're not going to overpower me all of a sudden. They're pigmented, but they're not like a black eyeshadow or anything like that. And these are small pans. These are, let's compare here. These in here, these round ones are standard eyeshadow pans. These are the Sugarpill eyeshadow pans. As you can see, they're a little bit smaller. Now, I don't know how deep they are, but my guess is not like uber deep. And then what I did was I took the little magnetic pan I am housing my my Norvina shadow in, which is a depotted dose of colors palette that I stuck some magnet stuff in. And I put some singles in there that I thought might mesh. And I also put, these three are from my Kaleidos Futurism 3 Astro Pink palette. And fun fact, you can depot these, they're magnetized. Because that's another palette I was considering pairing with this shadow. I think this magenta will go really good, little neutral, little shimmer to go on the lid if I want to put this in the inner corner or something. So I'm giving myself options, and I tried to pick things like, this is a cute little palette, don't you think? Like, cute little color story. I'm giving myself options. I'm trying to optimize my panning ability, my motivation, and try and do something that makes sense for me. Now, I've been doing a lot of rambling, and I do apologize for that, but I just felt I needed to explain myself in why I'm doing things a little bit differently. I don't know how often I'm going to do updates, and then if it's just not working, we can reassess, pick a different palette, see how things are going, change up the rules if we need to. Alright, it's been fun, kids, but it's time for me to go. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions on how I could improve this project, or ideas you have, how you're doing a project eyeshadow panning situation, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to, and ring the bell to become a Pavlovian dog. See you next time. Bye.